All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to, or welcome to, for the first time, Infinity and Beyond AANE's new live stream thing. Um, this is an interactive stream about issues that matter to us, the autistic community, and with open minds, I'd love it if we would share all of our opinions and questions with each other. Um, AANE is an organization that provides services to autistic folks, their families, and the folks and professionals that support them. Click the link in the description if you want to learn more about us. And my name is Olive Gallup. I have worked at AANE for 6 years now, I think. And I have been diagnosed on the spectrum for 21 years of my life. And I'm turning 30 in 3 days. So that's fun. I am published on the intersection of being both queer and autistic, and I'm excited to get things going today. So let's jump right in. And the topic today is something that I've been pretty excited about, and I know that a lot of other people are too. It's autism representation in the media. I think we have seen a myriad of all sorts of different ways to present autism, either in like TV or, in writing. Um, and so we're just going to explore like all kinds of different examples of that today. Um, and really what I would like from y'all is, when we bring up different forms of media and representation, if you could just tell us what you think of the um, representation that that piece gave to autistic folks, that would be great. And I think that can be like our whole conversation tonight, basically. And these opinions can range from, you know, this was a wonderful representation of um like folks that I know on the spectrum or myself on the spectrum, or it could be really bad, it could be really stereotypical, it could be hurtful in the worst case scenario. And I would just love it if whenever we brought up any of these um any of these examples, to just be as honest as you're comfortable with. And we'll just talk about all the different examples. So I wanted to start with, um, like, I think what is probably the most wide, or one of the most widely known um, representations of autistic folks in media. Um, and so when I mention this, just give me like your gut feeling about this character and this show. It's going to be a TV show, in the chat here, and we can discuss, why we have these feelings about this person. So it's going to be Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory. And I have my opinions of that show, and I'd be happy to vocalize them, but I would love to hear y'all's first. So, whatever you think of his representation of autistic folks, I would love to see it in the chat. Um, and while those responses are trickling in, I will say that, like, typically, he is seen as like, yeah, okay, we're I'm getting a thumbs down in there already. And that's basically what the community has seen of his representation, is that he is mostly a stereotype. No shade to the actor. He did what he would with the script. Um and like, it's but like, right, like the way, actually, Fen, I really like how you described that, where like, um like, it seemed like the way that his character was written, it's like, are we making fun of autistic folks here? Like, is this something to laugh at? Like, and like, so that's, I think that is the general sentiment that the community has about that character. Um I do share those opinions. So that's yeah, I definitely agree with y'all on that. Um Fen and BC, if you guys feel like talking more, could you just tell us in the chat, like, what maybe his, like, what do you think his impact on how people see the autistic community is? Um, just reading more comments here. Yeah, yeah, it did seem kind of disorganized like that, Hallie. It like and like I don't know. To me, like that sort of like toss this in a bucket method definitely made me even more feel like, oh, this is just like, oh, like toss more like quirky quote unquote um like mental health and autistic traits into this one person. That's comical, like it seemed very cheap. I was not a fan. It looks like we're all pretty much in agreement there. So I'm kind of that actually is really heartwarming to me. Because like yeah, like it's like I think that a lot of people and tell me if you guys agree or disagree with this, but I think a lot of people kind of got the wrong idea about the autistic community because of him, and like I wouldn't say that it ruined our image, but like it didn't do a lot good. Um, and it's definitely concerning to me that he's like as far as pop culture goes, he's probably like the most like widely known um, you know, character that people um have deduced is autistic. Okay, so we can probably actually just keep moving here because um and so BC, I was actually about to bring up Rain Man, which means that we probably are going to have all the same opinions about that too. Because um, like I was I was going to talk about like Rain Man is like the like classic like, oh, this is like an autism movie that so many people have seen before. Um, and like right, it perpetuates very similar stereotypes. So okay, maybe we don't even need to go in that direction. Um, Lauren, we were talking about Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory and how he's kind of like a poor representation of autistic folks in the media, um, and we were all kind of on the same page that his character, um, just perpetuates stereotypes and like is kind of like a signal to make fun of autistic traits. So we kind of we all kind of collectively said we didn't like that. Um, I'm just catching up with some comments here. Oh, Forrest Gump. Yeah. So actually, thank you for starting that train, BC. Because what I was going to ask next is, what do you guys think of in terms of, or like, what comes to mind when you think of good or like, more like I don't know, like less hurtful representations of autistic folks in the media, and like, um, yeah, that's so funny. I actually never even thought of Forrest Gump as uh, an autism movie, but like, yeah, like that does make sense for sure. Um, I'm just catching up with more comments here. Da da da. Yeah. Just BC, just thinking about Atypical. I watched a little bit of that show as well, and like, I don't know, like it still seemed like I don't know. It didn't exactly rub me the right way, but it's definitely in a better direction for sure. Um, and like, yeah, it didn't lean on the like he's like a genius savant kind of trope for sure. Okay, Fen, first I didn't realize there was new Shira, so like, oh my god, let's go. But um if Entrapta is like canon or not canon, but like, maybe head canon um autistic, then like that's definitely going to get me to watch it. In fact, let that's a good direction that we can go in. Um Do you guys know of any other characters that, like, in just your canon are autistic? Like, it doesn't have to be like somebody who's deliberately like shown as autistic, but like to you, it's like autistic coded. Like who do you think of when you think of that kind of thing? Ooh, Molly, I should watch Criminal Minds because I've heard great things about it. And I've like heard the name of the character Spencer Reed like the whole time. So um, yeah, I should watch that. Hallie, what do you think of like what makes you think Nathan from Ted Lasso is autistic? I haven't seen the show, so just I'm mostly asking for clarification. Oh, you guys are naming so many things that I haven't seen. Oh my god. Is that a nickname for Arthur Weasley, the Aardvark? Never heard that before. You guys are naming all sorts of cool stuff, and I'm sure that, like, with the proper context, like, I just like, I'm so sorry. I literally haven't seen like any of the things that you're mentioning. Um, okay, yeah, okay. Thanks for that explanation, Hallie. That makes a lot of sense. Um, and that makes me think of I don't know if you this is gonna be a super niche thing, but I don't know if you guys have watched the 2000s Disney movie called Atlantis: The Lost Empire, and the character Milo Thatch, he is like he's hell bent on finding Atlantis to the point where he actually does it. Um, and Also, just on the other side, he's like kind of socially awkward, but like he's still like competent for sure. And like it's like okay, so he's got the special interest in Atlantis, and like then he's like quirky in a way that I related to at least. So it it definitely to me he's coded autistic. Oh, hell yeah, Emma. Let's go. Yeah. Love, 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 love. Oh, we have a lot of fans of that movie. Yay. Very cool. Very cool. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's so nice, Fen. I love that your ferret is Kita because of that movie. It's so great. Yay. Sarva, Dr. House. Oh, hell yeah. I could absolutely see that. For sure, for sure. I also rewatched it many times growing up. It you know, I would still consider that one of my favorite movies for sure. Hell yeah. Just also catching up on comments. Ugh, let I don't even want to open the can of worms for Elon Musk tonight. Let's save that for another for another night maybe. Um, that's a good point, Sarva, that masking kind of makes anyone a possible candidate for being autistic coded. Um, as long as they show the burnout at least. That's a really good point. So like what's have you encountered characters that you like have like seen experiencing a significant amount of burnout, because like that could also be like autistic coded in a way for sure. Okay, actually, on that note, that's like this is gonna be another like really really niche piece of media, but hold on, I need to look this up. I need to make sure I get this name right. Okay, so I don't know how many of you guys watched like 2000s era Cartoon Network shows, but Mr. Harriman, or the rabbit from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, to me, he's coded autistic because he has like his whole system of like running the entire house, and like he's kind of like rigid in that way. Um, but like when he's able to relax, he's like he's very soft and kind and friendly and all that stuff. Um, so like I just I don't know. To me, he feels autistic. I'm seeing a few. Oh my god, yeah, okay, good. I'm so glad that you guys are resonating with all of these like super yes, okay. I'm so glad you guys are resonating with all this. Like this is I feel so much like I I I I don't know. I feel connected right now because of that. Thank you guys. Hell yeah. Um, that's really good. I think a lot of the characters from Foster's Home could be autistic coded in a way, because like autism presents itself in so many like endless amounts of fashions. Like you could argue it for like tons of those characters, I would wager. I also loved that show with all my heart. It was um it was one of like my daily watches. Like I would get home from school and I would watch like Ed, Ed and Eddie, Codename Kids Next Door, Foster's Home, and like Ben 10, and that was my evening. It was really really nice. Cheese was also a major favorite character for me. He was like the peak of that show, because like well, for me he was, at least, because it's like this like menace of a guy walks in. He's just like oh, he's so funny. Just reading back some comments. Ooh, Molly, the doctor being an example is a great idea. I think. Um, it's also like it's so interesting to think like which doctor that might be, because like I grew up with David Tennant as the doctor, and I could absolutely see some Spectrum Hood in him. But then, like, also, like, going back and watching Chris Eccleston episodes, like, I could see it in him too. And, like, Matt Smith too. Like, like, there's an argument for all of them. So thank you for bringing that one up for sure. I've not watched Gravity Falls. I'm told it's wonderful, um, but I've not watched it. Um, That's interesting. Yeah, yeah. Um, Hallie, thank you for bringing that up. Like a character that was supposed to be autistic, but is actually just like super into a topic. Like, you know, people without autism can have, um, a special interest. Maybe not in the exact same fashion that autistic folks do, but like, you can just be into stuff, you know? Like, I could see Hermes from Futurama for sure, Sarva. That that's a yeah, that is a possibility for sure. Oh my god, Fen, that's amazing. Heck yeah. I don't know what dead end is, but canonically autistic folks and trans mask representation. Let's go. Um, that makes me really happy. Heck yeah. Oh my god, speaking of which, like this is kind of off topic, but like for the queer folks in the audience. I don't know if you all saw the Barbie movie yet, but like canonical trans Barbie? Oh my god! Like my heart. Ah, like, made me feel very good. Oh, that's an interesting one, PC. GTA 3, Claude the Silent Protagonist. What if he's just nonverbal? You know, like that's totally a possibility. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. That makes me think like, oh my god, there's so many characters that like are like minimally verbal or completely nonverbal in like video games and stuff. Um, I'm trying to think, like who else would that be? Actually, I'm going to abandon that thought because I just had like a banger of a thought come to mind. Do you guys think Batman's autistic or not? Yeah, I see that PC for sure. Just rich and jaded. Yeah, yeah, hell yeah. That's that is very very accurate for sure. So Mina, I really like what you said that like actually Barbie felt autistic. Because I resonate with that statement, and for me, it was because you know, when Barbie first enters the real world, she has like this preconceived notion of you know, routine and societal norms that work for her. And then when they're challenged, it causes her a lot of grief, and she gets overwhelmed. She has to mask for a while. Um, and You could even argue that this is a play on having visible traits, because you know she'll come out with like her outfit and her mannerisms and stuff, and then you know folks will either stare at her and make fun of her and stuff, and like that feeling felt really real to me. So I think yeah, I agree with you there. I think there could definitely be autism coding in Barbie because of that. Oh, oh, I see what you mean. Okay, for sure, for sure. Um, I also see the particular character you're talking about. Um, Molly, that's a good one. Is Spider-Man ADHD? Because like I could see that, like especially with the new Tom Holland ones. Like I could totally see that 100%. I have not seen the piano, Hallie. What makes you think? Or sorry, I'm gonna phrase that less accusatorily. Um, What um what speaks to you in that movie as being autism coded? Hell yeah. That's awesome, Molly. Let's go. Very cool. Guys, while we're talking about this, whether the person is deliberately autism coded or not, I want you to think about characters who have had a deliberately positive impact on the autistic community or our relations to just society at large because of their presence. Like to me, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the show Community, but the character Abed in that one is established as canonically autistic in the very first episode, and then they never mention it again. He just exists with everybody else. And the whole dynamic with him is that his friends watch out for him all the time. And like, sometimes he's in like kind of awkward situations. And like his friends will make sure that he's like comfortable and like making um making as informed a decision as he can at all turns. And I think that not only shows a healthy autistic character, but a healthy a healthy swath of friendships from an autistic character too, which like it's incredible to see. Like, not only is it a positive autistic character, but it's like this one's thriving. I'm going to say that differently. Like Abed is thriving in that character, and like it's like, oh, cool, okay, this is actually like a very positive thing. So I really like that character, and I'm seeing that um, a lot of you in the chat are also agreeing with that. Mina, that's awesome. Like, it was one of the first reasons you might have considered yourself autistic. That's great. Hell yeah, I love that so much. Oh wow, Hallie, that sounds like a really interesting movie. Oh my god. Um, wow, yeah. When I have like the mental capacity to tackle such a thing, because that sounds like a heavy, like emotional movie, then I will definitely get after that. That sounds really, really interesting. Ryan, thank you for um uh, articulating that better than I. It shows positive dynamics around an autistic character for sure. Cool, cool. Thank you, Fen. Thank you for the TW as well. Um, and how do they like respond to show like proper response to such a thing? Because that, like, I feel like that's also very important, especially considering like I'm sure that you guys have heard of that movie Music that Sia made, which is like just cruddy representation all around, but it also shows meltdowns and very improper ways of handling when that happens. And so I would just love it if there was something to counteract that for sure. Oh, the Belchers from Bob's Burgers. That seems correct. Yeah, I agree with that, actually. Like, yeah, yeah, because like obviously they all very much love each other, but like they're so unconventional, and like I don't know. I personally vibe very much with how they communicate with each other, and like I don't know. Generally, when that happens to me and like people in the real world, there's some neurodivergency going on. Not that I'm a perfect like um litmus test for that kind of thing, but like that seems correct to me for sure. Oh, Jay, I need to know where to watch Rise of the Pink Ladies, because I need to know. I need to know that. Hi, Carol. Hi, Anthony. Welcome, guys. Well, I'm glad y'all got here. I'm glad y'all got here. Just for y'all who are just getting here, the question that I'm having everybody ponder for the time being is if y'all can think of um characters or just general representations in media um, that portray positive or impactful um, representations of autism, we'd love to hear about it. And that's what we're talking about in the chat. So far, we've mentioned like Abed from Community. We've talked about Bob's Burgers. I'm just scrolling up the chat right here. Um, Spider-Man. You know, we've got a lot of examples going here. So um, whatever everybody can think of, we'd love to hear it. Ooh, yeah, I'm surprised that hasn't come up already with Sherlock for sure. You think Steve Jobs? Really? I'm not doubting you. I just haven't heard that before. So maybe. Yeah, I guess that does make sense for sure. For sure. Thank you, Hallie. I see what you mean there, Molly, with Kaz from Supernatural, but it could be like a metaphor for autism as opposed to like a direct correlation. I don't know. I personally look for even like stretch relations to this kind of thing, so I don't know. Hell yeah. It's cool to see you know, all the different times folks were diagnosed in their lives um in the chat here too. Oh hell yeah. Mr. Data, my boy, for sure. I had a partner once who super into Star Trek, and you know, I obviously was not quiet about myself being on the spectrum, and so when she and I were watching that, um, you know, like she hadn't really considered it before, but then it was like, oh yeah, right, Mr. Data, of course he is coded spectrum for sure. That is a nice one for sure. And to keep in the Star Trek theme, if any of y'all are Deep Space Nine fans, I would say Mr. Garrick, Elim Garrick. He seems pretty well autistic coded to me, especially with sensory issues. Like they focus on that quite a bit, especially in the later seasons. Sorry to keep pumping on Star Trek right here. What do you guys think of Riker? Is he autistic? Because like I could see like he's got a lot of charisma for sure, but I could see some missed social cues there. So I don't know. Oh, Molly, thank you for asking. You can skip the original series. Um, if you feel like going back and watching it, you can totally do that. It is classic, but it's also dated, so there's a lot of misogyny and like just cruddy production in there too. Start with the next generation, but be warned even then that the very beginning of that is kind of slow. But once you like get through a few episodes of it, it gets good. And and you know, and then we get to see our boy Jean Luc do all the stuff that he does. Which, speaking of which, Anthony, I see that you're suggesting that he might also even be on the spectrum, and that is certainly an idea for sure. I could see it. Yeah, I see the argument for that for sure. Yeah, yeah, no problem for sure. Um, and not that you asked for any further, but if you do get to Deep Space Nine, that is my favorite iteration of Star Trek. It's so good. Is ultra progressive. Um, and like even has like some like albeit loose, but has like some trans themes in there, which like of course I'm a big fan of. And it's just awesome. I love Deep Space Nine so much. Sweet. Heck yeah. That's awesome. I've never seen Galaxy Quest, which is silly because the advertisement for its DVD was on so many of the movies that I bought when I was a kid, or that my parents bought for me when I was a kid. You'd think I would have like actually gone and watched it, but nope, not this time. While we're on the topic of spoof space movies, have y'all seen Spaceballs? That one's a classic for sure. While we're still going on about this, feel free to also toss examples into the chat of maybe some poor or outdated versions of autistic representation. Like I'd like to see this contrast between like these good new ones that we're talking about and these old ones to kind of illustrate the progress that we've made in representing autistic folks in media and stuff. Yeah, Carol, it's very stereotypical. It's very like, relying on tropes, and it's just like we're past that now. We're not going to do that anymore. Um yeah, Jay, we actually also talked about Sheldon Cooper, like, those like exact same reasons, like stereotypical, relies on tropes, kind of makes us feel like we're being made fun of. Like it's yeah, it's it's not the best for sure. Molly, I haven't seen The Good Doctor. What makes that a bad representation? That's interesting, Sarva, about Jessica Nicole's character. What do you think? Like, did you think that ended up like working well, or like like basing a character off of somebody else when you're not personally on the spectrum could go either well or not. So, what do you think? Did they execute well? Yeah, this is a very pondering sort of chat tonight, for sure. I'll take this as a good thing, but like I'm like Or sorry, I'm going to read this comment first. Everything. Okay, yeah, for sure. And that okay, thank you for describing that, Molly. Like, and that seems to be like what has, portrayed a bad autistic character is when it's like relying on tropes and, perpetuating stereotypes very clearly written by folks that like weren't autistic. um yeah, I agree. That makes for bad representation for sure. And yeah, I see what you mean by that, Cat. Like, some folks are like Rain Man and have like, the savant abilities, and you know, like that's their profile. I think the issue that folks typically take up with that though is that it's representative of one kind of autistic person, and like, what's the classic phrase? If you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. And I think a lot of people got the wrong idea that like the kind of autistic that Rain Man is just how autistic people are. Um, so like, not necessarily an unrealistic representation, but definitely like uh, what's the word I'm looking for here? It generalized in ways that were not necessarily productive to the community. I do see what you mean though about how some people are just like that, and that's fine. Oh, Hallie, that sounds awesome. The bridge? Yo, okay. All right, all right, all right. I want to see some autistic women being successful. Let's go. Hell yeah. Okay, I'm going to add that to my list actually. Hell yeah. And yeah, that's a good point too. Is like media representation seems to be focused on like the most extreme representation. And I think a lot of that is like that gets like views and clicks and likes and stuff because it's like, ooh, like look at this thing, like it's sensational. But that's the issue, is like our very existence is not sensational. We're normal people like everybody else. um and like, to view us as like this ultra sensationalized thing is like, you know it's just inaccurate to who we are, and potentially hurtful in some cases. um so like, I like that there's a lot more, um um yeah, there's a lot more inclusion of folks in just kind of like normal everyday life, in light of that. Thank you for the flag, Carol. Woohoo. Exactly, Kat. Yeah, we need a big variety for sure. Ugh. Okay, that's really cool. Guys, just so you know, I think we're gonna wrap the stream in maybe like 2 minutes. So if you guys want to get any last thoughts out, we can chat about them quick, and then I think I'm gonna wrap up here. Um, like, I really want to like hammer on the point that you just mentioned, Kat. It's like there's so many different kinds of autistic folks. Like, we deserve that kind of vast representation, and like that's good that it's happening more and more. And I hope for a day when, you know it's to the point where like not just we are recognizing it, but like everybody can. And like, it kind of helps folks shape their opinion of us as just like, you know normal cool people. um you all seem pretty cool, so I wish I hope that the future is able to realize that for us too, for sure. Thank you for the the content warning about the bridge, Hallie. um Sometimes I can be in the mood for such things, but oh man, I have also been known to get a little overly emotional, so that is helpful for sure. I really feel you on that, BC. I know you're talking to Carol, but I just wanted to mention that like I actually I have 2 jobs, and my other one is, a very, like, person-facing retail kinda job, and, man, it is tough to mask sometimes because like, you can't like, it's tough. It's tough being in person like that, so I just wanted to give validity to that for sure. Um, and yeah, Sarva, masking can be, bad for your health. It can cause stress, burnout, depression because it makes you feel ingenuine sometimes, like yeah, it can be tough for sure. But that's getting into topics that we might discuss at a later date. So for the time being, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. Thank you for this discussion, y'all. By the way, this was really cool. I'm so glad that we all had so many different representations, or sorry, different examples of representation of autistic media here. Um, it's really nice to be able to see like the ones that we know are canonically autistic and then the ones that we kind of like theorize as such. um, it's very, very cool, and I'm so glad that we were able to come together and discuss that. um, it also felt very comforting for me, to know that like bad representation kind of boiled down to the same mistakes each time, which was just like relying on tropes and stereotypes. Like literally, if you look into the more nuanced like way that humans are and autistic humans are, then it'll be better. Like because we're all very nuanced humans and stuff for sure. um, that's awesome. So thanks everybody. This was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it. I hope you did too. I think y'all did too. Um, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap for tonight. So thank you for being here, and we'll see you next month. Like we are doing these streams every month, and we've had some pretty great turnout each time, and so we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Just a reminder, if you are curious as to what AANE does for everybody, we help out folks who are on the spectrum, but as well as their families and the professionals who support them. And I think Maggie just dropped a link in the chat to to direct you to some more of our resources for sure. Cool. Okay. Um, so that's that. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream now. Good night, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you in a month. Bye.